Alltså inte nog att den här metoden har hjälpt mig fysiskt med spasmerna och allting efter stroken, men det hjälpte mig psykiskt också.
Han är genialisk som har hittat på det här. Det är fullkomligt enastående.
Och att han omsätter det till ett program till oss som har råkat ut för det här.
Bang, shoot, bang.
To do this to her, that it crushed me. It's time to tell the whole story. So I went back to where it all started. And to the very beautiful place where I was close to die as well. In fact, twice. First, almost murdered by one I considered as a friend. And secondly, I was close to drowning myself. But luckily, I was stopped by an angel.
Mitt första minne av Ronnie, det är en liten man i en rock. Han gick omkring på gatorna i Västerås. Jag tror det var inte många i den stan som visste vilken stjärna som gick omkring på gatorna.
Ronnie's a many-faceted person. He's a drummer, but he's a real humanist, if you will, you know. He cares about a lot of things, and he's also very curious.
Lenny och jag sa alltid att det där tålamodet, det måste vara indianen i honom. Han är ju 25% Narragansett-indian.
My uncle has a worldly education, and I would say that my uncle has certainly doesn't have to take a back seat to anybody in that respect.
Han har lätt för att bli omtyckt. Ja. Och jag tror många gånger han har blivit utnyttjad.
I was born in Westerly, Rhode Island on the 25th of July, 1932. And Westerly is the southern part of Rhode Island. It's about 3 hours from New York. By the way, Rhode Island's the smallest state in the United States. There wasn't many blacks, no. There's maybe about 5 of us in the whole school, about out of maybe 1,000 students or something, when the whole school, I mean. And the blacks are mixed with Indian. I'm part Narragansett. In fact, I'm the great-great-grandson of Chief of the Narragansett.
Right there. It's easy to see me. I'm the only one that's in the car.
We were oceanfront natives because we had an ocean. And we knew how to get all the food we wanted, and that ocean provided the majority of it.
As a native person, you know the drum beat is the heartbeat of the earth. But when he played the drums, he made your whole spirit sing.
The drum is our connection with the Creator. The drum brings our feelings to the highest point, like the smoke from a peace pipe. It's quite ironic that he has taken that to a whole nother level.
I remember getting my first drum, and I was 3.5. And at 9.5, I made my first debut as a drummer, public appearance, and I played a drum solo. Wasn't anything to talk about, but anyway, the people seemed to like it since I was so small. Maybe that's why I'm a musician today, because it certainly encouraged me, because people liked what I was doing, and I liked what I was doing, and I know my mother and father were very proud of me.
His father took him around to many places, to restaurants and stuff.
My father was there, and he didn't drink. And he just took orange juice, and he watched me play, and people paid me tips. I got $10. So I got more. That's a lot of money then, back in 1946.
So I think he built his confidence that way, and he got very popular. Ronnie had been in Scandinavia in '61, and he came back and told me that there was a lot of music going on there. So that's what we did.
So I saved up enough money to make the trip on the Grip song.
And I went with him. Just bought a one-way ticket, and we got off boat in Copenhagen.
If I think about it now, I was completely crazy. I mean, I really mean it because you just don't do a thing like this. I'm 30 years old. I'm going to make a trip, which I hope will, I hope to make enough money playing so I can stay in Europe for maybe a month.
But it seems like he's been pretty lucky as far as this job comes up. This one just happened to be. We got a piano player and a bass player and a girl singer.
I met Get in 1964, and it was like a spot. It's actually happened, this is true. And I looked at her and she looked at me, and I haven't experienced that before. She liked me very much, I liked her very much.
I met Charlie Norman in the Grand Canaries in 1971, but I started with his trio in 1975.
Vi hade en princip att ingen Norman-föreställning utan Ronnie, Gardiner och Caravan.
Get and I, we had a great relationship. She had a widow's pension, and that's why we didn't get married. She actually tried to take my name legally, but they didn't allow it. And we were together 16 years. She was the most wonderful person I've ever met. And she did everything possibly to make me happy, and I tried to do everything possibly to make her happy. And here we had the chance to really fulfill it now for the first time because she loved the sun. She had a little neck problem, and yeah, she's a great woman. She had a smile that certainly would light up a room, I'll tell you. I can say it was just a very, very, very happy period in my life. And maybe, if you put it all together, maybe the happiest I've ever had. Because being with Git, having the time with her, having the time to run on the beach, playing with Charlie Norman, this was life to me. Real life, happy life. It's another great thing. I set up the drums once for the whole season. Ask any drummer who wouldn't want that job. And then playing with Charlie Norman. And Charlie's had a repertoire of playing the music I like. He had the music of Errol Gardiner and Oscar Peterson and Count Basie, Duke Ellington. He found that special way of putting good music together and entertaining people. And that's an art. It was a magical period, the best time of my life. And it was all taken away, just... The building behind us, that's where we lived, Git and I, when we were here with Charlie. Very good location here. And that balcony there, that's where we had our last lunch together. Exactly this time, when we were waiting for Jose between 12 and 1. And a very friendly guy. He was part of the team. Charlie, Dagnan, Lenny, Nathan. He was a regular guy.
Han var förlovad med en svensk bekant till oss.
Anyone that knows him would never, ever think he could ever do anything like that.
Den här killen hade lånat pengar utav Ronnie och Git.
He came by one Monday evening and asked if we could loan him some money. But it wasn't from him. He said, well, it was for him and his fiancée, and who we knew and liked. And very nice, lovely lady. And so we wanted to help her. So he asked if we could do this, and I looked at Git, and she says, yeah, it's up to you, Ronnie. And I said, well, what do you think? And she says, well, you decide. So she says, it's okay with me. And I said, yes. So we loaned him the money.
He promised, oh, I'll pay it back in a couple of weeks. He's from a wealthy family, and so I figured, well, whatever happened, he could get the money from his parents. They had money.
Today is exactly 32 years, right to the day, March 11th, 1980, that this was Git's last living day with me. We had breakfast in the morning, and we talked, and just about 11 o'clock, we took a little walk, this last walk I had with her. We had to get home by 12 o'clock because between 12 and 1 was Antonio was going to bring us back the money. And we had our lunch and was waiting for him. And then, well, he didn't show up. But It's about 12:30 now, and then we talked, and she says, well, I have a feeling we're not going to get that money. And but she said, that's not we have our love, and we helped somebody, and that was great to do, and that's not the end of the world. And she kissed me, and I left about 5 minutes to 1 to go play volleyball. I played volleyball every day.
Vi brukar ju spela volleyboll ett gäng, vi som jobbade, och den här dagen så...
I felt something was really wrong.
Mitt i matchen så springer bara Ronnie iväg.
I started running like a wild horse, just to try to get home. And on the way home, there was Jose, the man that was supposed to pay us the money. He hadn't shown up. And I was looking, I was sort of wanting, I had a feeling in my stomach, if there's anything, any threat, it only could be him. And he says, no, he says, I'm sorry I didn't show up, but the thing is, we're going to have a big party on the Thursday, the 13th. So I had to take care of all this thing. So he says, he'll come back at 3 o'clock. Made a point, come back at 3 o'clock and he'll have the money. So I went back to play volleyball. And then we played the volleyball match. And somehow the sprinklers went off, and we had to break up the match anyway. So this was about 2:30 in the afternoon.
And something is telling me something is wrong. So I go and I knock on the door, and there wasn't any answer. And my heart started pounding. I knew something was wrong. She always came to the door. And I turn the door and I take 5 steps and I look.
And there was a strange smell I hadn't smelled before. I don't know what it was, but there was a smell.
I see Git first, but I see Jose standing up with this big hammer. He had just struck her with her brains hanging out, both sides, blood all over. She's still breathing.
And I screamed to him, why? And he shouts out, don't say anything to my girlfriend. No, I mean, that's sick. I didn't have a chance. I should have ran out of the room because I had no chance. He had the big hammer, I had nothing.
But so long as she was breathing, I just couldn't run away from this. I didn't think about my life. It didn't matter. He wasn't going to get away with this. And he's missing me by centimeters. I'm in fantastic physical shape. I must be like a reflex of a cat. I'm an animal now.
And then he was attacking me with his hammer, trying to kill me. He was wild. I made one offensive move, and I grabbed him by his right wrist, and we're fighting, and I got the hammer from him, and I pinned him in the corner, and the feeling in me, I would have liked to split him in half. I wanted to do that, but I couldn't do it. And we're fighting, and I pushed him against the window, and I started hitting the window, screaming for help in police. And please, help, help. And meanwhile, I was holding with one hand while I was smashing the window, and I pinned him in the corner, and I got this hammer, and I tapped him I don't understand this neither, how I just tapped him. It was like a pencil in my hand, and I just tapped him, hardly touching his head. Just this, if I hit him like that, it would have killed him instantly. But I didn't want to kill him, so I just tapped him a little, just on his right temple, above with the head here. And then I hit him a little harder in the ribs, because I could hit it harder there. So, and he crumbled, and he just folded and dropped on the floor. And then meanwhile, the police were there, and the ambulance, everything happened just like was there about in a minute, because it's not very far from the police and the hospital here. It was just a few minutes away. So they were right there. They came up, and they got me, and they put a white sheet over her, and they said she was dead.
Lenny och jag var på golfbanan och vi kom i trappan, för Lenny bodde han hade lägenheten under. Och när vi kom då från golfbanan så var det var blod ute i trappan. De hade burit bort mördaren. Och vi skojade och sa, nu är det någon turist som har skurit sig i foten igen, vet jag, att de aldrig kan se sig för och så vidare. Så träffade jag då hustrun. Och hon sa det. Har ni hört vad som har hänt? Nej. Att då mördaren då har slagit ihjäl Git. Och vet att få höra någonting sånt är så... det är så främmande för ens hela värld. Så att innan en sån replik går in i skallen, vet du, så är det som man skulle ha skydd på skydd på skydd så här. hjälmar ungefär som en astronaut. Vet du. Man vill inte ta emot den information. För att Ronnie skulle slippa så Lenny och jag på oss att gå med konsuln och polisen och leta efter såna här papper som gällde hennes hemtransport. Hon har försäkrat. Jag menar, du vet, vardagliga ting mitt uppe i alltihop. Och det där är ju bråttom då. Och så att vara i en mordlägenhet så att säga. Med vad det innebär av lukter och allting sånt där. Jag har fortfarande väldigt svårt för den formen av våld som underhållning. Nej, det här är inte underhållning.
I was playing in Stockholm. And I was coming out of the apartment house. And on the wall of the subway was one of the papers, and it said, famous musician's wife murdered. And I saw the picture. I said, what? I called Spain and talked to him, and it was Git. Bad. And supposed to have been a friend of theirs.
And it was bad.
Instead of paying him back, he killed her. God. That was awful.
It was a shock. Knowing somebody and watching it happen. Shouldn't happen to Ronnie.
I didn't sleep for the whole week, more or less. Charlie thought I should have some company, and they moved me. Charlie sent for Ralphie Berry to come down to live with me. Ralphie just lost his wife of cancer. But things were going down, and of course I felt guilty. You blame yourself. Why? And you question God. And you do all these things. Why, God, did you do this? You blame yourself because you're stupid. Why should you help a person like that? And a person, is that the thanks you get for helping someone? To take a person's life like that? You could, money's money. You could have just said, I can't pay the money, I've done this. And, okay, do it when you pay and you can. But to do this to her, it crushed me. And she was gone, and I felt my life was over. So on the 27th, I felt, no, I don't want to see anybody anymore. I don't want to see Git's son. I don't want to see our friends. I don't want to see anybody. I felt I let it. Of course, it was my fault she lost her life, and I was so stupid, and I had no self-esteem at all. And so I made my mind to drown myself.
Of the different things, the shooting yourself or cutting yourself with the wrist or hanging yourself, throwing yourself in front of a car, or these kind of things that didn't come into my mind. I just knew I couldn't swim, and going in the water, and that would go pretty fast, I thought, because I can't swim. And I thought that was a good, clean way of just leaving the world. And that's why I thought that would be the best. Then I had an inner voice just said something like, take the last walk you had with Git. So I went from the other side of the street, and on the left side was a tennis court, Bing Racer tennis court, and on the right is a volleyball plant. And there's a little pathway that goes up, and then it goes in front of the bungalows. So I took the left, and I started walking, making this last walk. And it was about 1:15. My head was very low and walking, and I saw people in the front of me, but diffused, and they sort of veered off to left and right. They didn't want to see me. Everybody sort of knew who I was. I was this Charlie Norman's drummer, and there was lots of news in the paper, and I was a black guy, and So people knew who I was. I was very visual. So I'm walking on this pathway and I'm very, of course, depressed. My head is down. And all of a sudden, is he real? And he was. I'm a drummer. I've had a good life with my four limbs, and I'm dependent on them. And realized that this guy doesn't have any of these things. And he smiled, and he's a good-looking guy and young. God, how does he go through this life?
I don't know, I just felt Git maybe had something to do with this. I mean, why did I see him in that, at the exact moment that I needed? Well, for Git's sake, I'm gonna try to do something in their honor.
I can't take my life, no. There's something here I gotta do. I'm here for a purpose. What is it? So I go back. And then I thought, it's about rhythm. And then I went deeper. I saw it in my deep, dark cave, I think. And then I thought, wow, rhythm. Rhythm is the glue of life.
And then, when I got back, I realized I gotta check with Ving Rhacer. Maybe they know about this guy. Now I'm interested in finding out what his name was, where he lived. But Ving Rhacer said, no, I'm sorry, we don't have the records now. I mean, we have so much going on and things change. So they couldn't give me any information about him. But some of the guides remember there was a boy living in a bungalow who didn't have any arms and legs, but that was about it. So I couldn't find him. And then it was a search. I always asked, but I was always talking to people that I knew about the boy. Maybe I would get a lead. Somebody would say, oh, I remember him, but nobody knew. And then I thought, the time I have remaining here, I'm going to try to find a way of helping people. Somehow I'm going to find something, but I'm just a drummer. What can I do? And then I begin to think, what does a drummer do? The drummer is like a conductor in a symphony orchestra. The drummer puts people together. It's communication. The drum has always been the instrument to put people together. All cultures. And so this, really, I had a good basis, I thought, of putting people together. I'm going to dedicate my life to helping people some way with the use of the little knowledge I have of drums and the coordination of a drummer. Then I begin to think about life. And where does it start? It starts making love. That's rhythm. And the child's feeling the heartbeat of the mother. Then later, the child gets their own heartbeat. And you think about the whole nature. We all live in a circadian rhythm. A circadian rhythm is a 24-hour rhythm, night and day. We're not talking about a week or a day or whatnot. We're talking about a lifetime of a particular rhythm that we live in, of lightness and darkness. Rising of the sun, sunsets, that's rhythm. We walk in rhythm. We breathe in rhythm. You're thinking about the migration of birds, spawning of fish, hibernation of animals, harvesting of crops. We even can predict and know when Halley's Comet is coming back. I think it's every 76 years. What is this? I mean, how does this happen? This is in the universe order. We know. Women are quite aware of governed by the moon cycle, for instance, in the menstrual cycle. That's a rhythm. So rhythm plays a very, very important life in all of us. We have a rhythm. Our life is governed by rhythm here when we're on this planet. And when that heart stops, the rhythm is gone. And there's no more life as we know life. So rhythm, it's key.
Du må titta på en tavla, du må höra en dikt, du må se en teaterpjäs eller you name it. Men när det kommer 2 takter med rytm så börjar du röra fötterna. Och det var där vi började tala om kraften som bara rytmen ger.
So I started to study about motion. I began to buy books about baby movements, and then I started reading about the brain. And then all of a sudden I started reading about the cerebral left hemisphere, control the right body movement. So every time you were making and most of us, a movement with the right hand, it was actually coming somewhere in the part of the brain dealing in the left side. It's a crossover. And then if you're moving your left hand, for instance, it was coming from the right side. So I began to think about this. And then I was at this time, I also was questioning a lot of things. I had a lot of ideas. And so I had the connection. I met a doctor who happened to know a neurologist in Uppsala, who worked at an academic hospital, Sweden. I was happy that the neurologist wanted to give me time to listen to me. I mean, I had no knowledge of the brain, of course, but I was reading about it, and I was reading about movement. I thought movement and rhythm had a particular interest.
I never forget it. We were actually sitting around this very table, and you came up with some questions about drumming and rhythm and so on, and what that could mean to the brain. Man har ju en sund skepticism, kan jag säga. Nya behandlingsmetoder och annat, de måste ju prövas och testas. Men om det inte är farligt för patienterna, då är man ju lite mer flexibel och då kan man vara mer öppen. Så jag började tänka, jag ska inte säga nej till det här direkt.
My tool is rhythm, it's coordination. And then I was thinking, well, the first thing you experience in life is your mother's heartbeat. That's life, that's rhythm. And being a drummer where I'm doing one rhythm with the right hand, or left hand, left foot, right foot, it can help people with this way. And we can measure this. We can take a 60, which is a pulse. It's your telephone, isn't it? What's mine?
Mine? Maybe yours.
No, it's not mine. Mine's here. Oh, it's mine. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Just 1 second. Hello, Ronnie speaking. I missed it. That's okay. Left, right, left, right, left, right.
Det här är ju en form av minnesträning. Det andra som man har, det är att det är en motorisk träning.
And then I take the last line, reverse it, and then I'll go feet, clap, hands, clap, left, clap, right, clap. And they train it in and they memorize it.
Så jag ställde inte mig negativ, utan vi började prata om det här lite mer i detalj. Vad det kunde betyda för hjärnan och framförallt för patienten. Go on, because it can never hurt the patients, and if we can help some, that would be fantastic.
You were the first scientific person to know what I was thinking at the time. We're going back to 1981 at the same table. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I want to say thank you, Eric, for the inspiration and what I'm doing. You share this with me. Thank you.
And I was thinking about this guy who saved my life because that was my big goal, to find this guy who saved my life. I'm very thankful for him because he opened up a whole new life for me. And so I thought somewhere along the line, someone would have the lead in the connection. No, years go by.
But I saw the big picture of what could happen with rhythm, and then I realized when I was washing my hands one morning, and I said, gee, color. I think color is important. And I was looking, and I saw the water, the hot water, being the red on the left, and the cold water in the blue. So I thought color will make things easy to understand. So that's why I added color. And then I was thinking, I want to help everybody in the world somehow. How can I do this where we're all speaking the same language? So I want to try to make language. What can I do where everybody would say the same thing all over the world? And then I said, well, I've only lived in the world of the drums since I was about 3 years old, more or less. And what does my right hand say when I'm playing? I'm going ting, 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 ting. That was the symbol. My right foot playing the big boom of the drum, the bass drum. Boom, boom, the deep boom, boom, rhythm. Left hand, left foot, what's that doing? It's chick. There's two cymbals that close together. You put your foot down, and these two cymbals clash together, and it makes a chick sound. And then the snare drum, well, it's either da or ba, whatever you want to make it, but that makes that sound. So these are the four limbs. So this meant that we could work with visual impaired and hearing impaired. They can do the same thing. If they can't see, we use the sound code. If they can't hear, we use the visual red and blue hands and feet, combinations.
Första gången han talade om för mig, han hade den här terapin, att en som var förlamad som inte kunde lyfta handen, han hade lyft en hel decimeter här för att så att säga slå i takt. Och den här decimetern, det var ju så att säga beviset för vad vi både trodde och trodde oss veta.
Big bang, tjong, klack. Jättebra.
Det här är skitbra för mig. Förr kunde jag inte röra foten eller benet alls. Nu kan jag det.
Thank you very much, tack. Thank you.
Och det är upplyftande.
Jag har Parkinson. Och det är ju bara att konstatera att man mår bra.
Det är roligt, det är stimulerande och det är en ansträngning. Det här är den trevligaste träningen.
It's a provocative method. The body provokes the mind and the mind provokes the body. And you see in the group, when you're in the group, that how people are lifted by this.
Please contact me. And I wrote again in 95, and it was been again in 96. I think 3 or 4 articles have been written. Years go by, and I begin to wonder, did I see this boy now? I begin to question myself, was he an angel? But I knew I saw this boy. And Ving Racers said there was. Back in 1981, they said there was a boy they remembered.
Finally, on May 20th, 1999, there was the television cameraman gave me a tip, and he says, the man you're looking for, I think he could be Michael. I can't promise you, and he gave me a telephone number where he worked. So I called up, and the lady at the switchboard says, yes. I said, my name's Ronnie Gardiner. Is there Michael working? Yes, he's a salesman. He's traveling today, but give him a call on his mobile. I laughed on that one because I said, I'm sorry, but the Michael I'm looking for, he has no arms, no legs, and he certainly can't answer a mobile telephone. She said, no, our Michael can, ring him.
Det är nog en av de mest omtumlande upplevelser jag har varit med om i livet. Det är ett mycket märkligt samtal.
I just want to say thanks for saving my life, and that's how we got to know each other.
Jag var ute och reste ner i Halland och så ringde min mobiltelefon. Och jag svarade som vanligt och sen hörde jag en mans röst med stark amerikansk brytning som ropade i luren alldeles upphetsad och undrade om det var Michael Anderson han pratade med. Jag var ju lite tveksam och undrade vad det här var för någonting, men jag svarade att det är jag. Och då sa han det att ja, du får inte lägga på nu, men jag har en väldigt konstig fråga till dig, sa han. Och så frågade han om jag befann mig på Kanarieöarna, San Agustin, bungalow number 15, så exakt var han. Året 1980. Och eftersom han ringde mig 1999 i juni så var jag ju väldigt förvånad. Han undrade var jag befann mig för 19 år sedan.
That day I was on my way to drown myself. And I saw you sitting on a table outside of bungalow number 15 over the Ving Racer swimming pool at that time.
Och jag trodde att det var någon som ska lura mig och driva med mig då. Men det var också någonting i hans ord som gjorde att jag fastnade. Det var någonting som var bekant. För jag var på Kanarieöarna just 1980 med mina föräldrar och min syster. Så jag svarade ju till slut lite tveksamt, ja det var nog jag. Och då blir det alldeles tyst i luren. Jag tänkte, vart tog han vägen nu då? Och sen hör man till slut hur han skriker, ropar ut det att du har räddat mitt liv, skriker han då. Ja, det var ju omtumlande och jag trodde att nu är det någon som ska lura mig då, för att det här, jag har ju aldrig räddat någons liv. Då.
He said, well, I haven't saved anybody's life. He couldn't put that together.
Och när man säger att någon har räddat någons liv så är det mer fysiskt, att man gör en fysisk insats. Och jag var inte alls inne på att jag hade räddat hans liv på det sättet som jag sen fick det förklarat för mig. Men efter ett tag när han hade berättat mer om hans upplevelse, hur stark den var och vilken vändpunkt det här var i hans liv, så förstod jag mer vad han menade.
Your smile and your radiation, what you put me onto a road to try to do something for people.
Och det är ju självklart att jag är jättestolt och jätteglad över att jag har betytt så mycket för någon annan. Den lärdomen jag har fått ifrån mötet med Ronnie nu, och det är hur mycket jag faktiskt kan påverka andra människor och andra människors liv utan att jag själv vet om det. Bara genom att vara den jag är. Så att det är en viktig lärdom jag har fått.
And the day that I checked and I thought about after, the day I found who Michael was, it was on Git's birthday, it was on May 20th. That's the first time I heard who Michael was, the guy that saved me.
Så är livet, att vi är på platser av olika skäl. Och här var det en ren slump att jag och min familj befann sig på Kanarieöarna. Vi skulle egentligen inte ha varit där. Nu var vi där och att jag satt där just då. Och att mamma och pappa hade pratat med mig om det här, eller vi hade diskuterat kring hur jobbigt det kan upplevas för mig i mötet med okända människor. Och att de tittar och att det är jobbigt. Och att jag fick en kraft av dem och en insikt om att möta människor då istället. Och se glad ut så löser det sig.
After I met Michael, I found Michael to be a very strong-willed, determined guy with a great charisma to him. Very bright and he's really a sharp guy. He had all this leadership qualities, you know. And
det han bland annat sa då, det var att du hade sån utstrålning då, du har det nu och du har så mycket viktigt att säga till andra människor.
And then I called Michael. I said, Michael, you really, Michael, I'm here. You should go out and speak, motivational speaking. And he said right away, I can't do that. I said, oh, Michael, come on. You can do anything you want. Make up your mind.
Ronnie trodde ju på mig. Han hade jättehöga förväntningar på vad jag kunde prestera och min förmåga. Och det gick in i mig och det gjorde att jag vågade sen ta steget. Då. Så att jag förändrade Ronnies liv med en oerhörd dramatik. Men det man inte känner till så mycket är att Ronnie förändrade mitt liv. Den läkaren som såg mig för allra första gången, han sa det att den här pojken, han kommer aldrig att ens lära sig att sitta. Det var väl tur att jag inte fattade vad han sa.
And now he starts actually doing it. He likes it.
Och det här är egentligen mest med tanke på er kvinnor som säger att män inte kan göra flera saker samtidigt. Det här är väl i alla fall 3.
He's getting more and more popular. He's doing a great job.
Så det är det jag vill förmedla, att hindren vi lever med, de sitter i skallen. Inte så mycket i vår fysik eller fysiska miljö. Hej, hur är läget?
Det är jättebra.
Med E på slutet?
Precis.
Det märkliga efteråt är ju att Ronnie sen söker efter mig så många år och frågar så många människor som ändå fanns i anknytning till mitt nätverk. Och till och med att vissa släktingar läser tidningsreportage om det här och ändå inte kopplar ihop mig med det här. Så det finns ju många sådana saker som är lite fascinerande, men samtidigt så fanns det säkert en mening med det som skedde ändå. Det vet inte jag. För mig var det ju säkert den perfekta tajmingen att få möta Ronnie just då. Och kanske inte alls hade haft samma effekt om jag hade mött honom 10 år tidigare. Då hade jag inte kanske varit mottaglig på samma sätt.
So now, 1999, I was ready to teach teachers, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, music therapists, whatever.
Och då var vi en grupp på 22 personer som kom till Hotell Anglais i Stockholm. Fantastiskt roligt hade vi. Varje år i slutet på termin så kom Ronnie ner från Stockholm och träffade mina grupper. Jag samlade dem i samlingssalen här i huset. Och 2006 så kom Arvid Carlsson och var med, Nobelpristagare i medicin. Och han berättade rätt upp och ner på vad han ansåg, så här fungerar den här metoden. Och han tyckte att det var väldigt, väldigt intressant.
Jag var mycket skeptisk. Jag är född skeptisk, mycket misstänksam.
It's about training your brain and making new pathways and connecting things
and being able to do stuff again and focusing more, but also to have fun.
Och då började jag se det med andra ögon. Det var så logiskt och logiken tilltalade mig som sjukgymnast. Och jag vet ju att hjärnan har en fantastisk återhämtningsförmåga. Så för mig var det klockrent alltså.
It has to be proven, evidence-based, as they call it.
We found it really important, of course, to go ahead with a scientific study.
Under 4 år har jag haft 8 grupper, en varje termin, 24 olika tillfällen.
This method ticked in a lot of boxes because we strongly believe in multisensory or multimodal stimulation, and that is clearly what you achieve with this model. It's impressive to see patients when they're getting into it and they are improving. It's amazing, actually.
Ronnie är grundare till metoden och sen har den utvecklats och det har lett fram till den här forskningen.
Den 10 maj 2009, jag var 12 år.
Sebastian han gick in och la sig i sin säng och läste en bok. Och...
Min bror satte vid datorn som var bredvid. Sen så helt plötsligt så lämnade då boken ner i ansiktet på mig. Och jag kände liksom bara, men vad är det här? Jag lyfte upp boken och fortsatte läsa. Sen så ramlade den ner i famnen igen och då var det så här, det var liksom mot bröstkorgen då, liksom kom in ner så. Och då kände jag att nu är det något som är konstigt. Men jag fortsatte ändå, liksom en sista gång, liksom 3:e gången gillt. Och då tappade jag boken ner på golvet. Mitt emot mitt eltrumset som satt där på den tiden. Sen så då när jag reser mig upp då så tappade jag balansen helt och hållet och ramlar framstupa rätt in i trumsetet. Och jag slår i min vänstra bakskalle i en järnstång som håller upp trumsetet. Och kollapsar i golvet. Och det var ju tur att Tobias satt bredvid och spelade dator då, för han märkte det på direkten.
Jag hörde ju Tobias då, att han skrek på mig då, så att då kom jag in då i Sebastians rum då och Sebastian ligger på rygg.
Jag kände liksom att nu är det ju något som är skumt.
Och liksom, mamma, vad är min arm?
Saken var ju den att min vänsterhand rörde sig inte.
Jag var helt fokus på att det hade hänt någonting i samband med fallet. Alltså att man förstod att det var något allvarligt som hade hänt då. Jag tror ambulanspersonalen hade nog mer förståelse för vad som egentligen var på gång då. För de skickade ju efter ambulanshelikoptern.
Då började jag gråta, fick panik.
Men att det skulle vara en propp, man gick ju in i en bubbla och det tror jag hela familjen, vi gjorde allihopa då. På intensivvårdsavdelningen då tog läkaren undan mig på kvällen där och förklarade det allvarliga i just det där att ifall hjärnan skulle svälla då fanns det ju, tankarna fanns ju att han inte kanske skulle överleva, men man vägrar att ta till sig det faktiskt.
Och just den här diagnosen av stroke är det 10 personer i världen i min ålder som får varje år.
Och man hade ju svårt att ta till sig det, för man hade ju inte hört talas om det överhuvudtaget. Så man satt ju verkligen och försökte hitta saker och ting själv då. Det var väl ett sätt att fördriva tiden också då.
Det var ju jobbigt mentalt. Fysiskt så var det var bara att vänja sig liksom vid det. Men det tog ju mycket på psyket att veta om att liksom, jag kan inte ens slå näven i bordet praktiskt taget. Jag ville komma tillbaka till samma nivå på direkten. Så jag fortsatte och bröt ihop liksom. Ibland fick jag självmordstankar till mig för att det var så illa. Jag var så mentalt instabil.
Man jagade ju svar som inte fanns. Så var det ju.
Ali, min trumlärare, hade ju hört talas om Ronnie Gardiner och hans metod. Och det var ju när mamma skulle sjukanmäla mig när vi var på sjukhuset. Hon ringde och sa det att han kommer inte för han har drabbats av stroke. Och då snappade han upp det direkt och sa, men du, jag har hört talas om Ronnie Gardiner. Han har en metod som har just med rytmik att göra. Du kanske ska ta kontakt med honom.
Sen så ringde jag till Ronnie då.
The lady called up about her son having a stroke. She said he was 12 years old. That doesn't happen very often.
Och han lyssnade Och sa väl några tröstande ord och sen bjöd han hem oss helt enkelt.
If they could drive down from Uppsala to Stockholm, which is about an hour's drive, and if they could come on a Saturday, and I said Saturday mornings I'm free, and they could come in, I would like to spend a half an hour, give them some exercises, and let's see what happens.
Första gången jag fick se hans metod så tänkte jag liksom, vad är det här egentligen? Jag sitter och klappar händerna på låren och stampar med fötterna. Vad är det här för barnlek?
Going to a guy to give you, say, tom bacon ting and these crazy sounds and movements.
För han var så öppen och han ville verkligen, ja men vi prövar det här. Liksom. Han gav mig som en känsla av att, kom igen, du kan klara det.
Ronnie är en helt fantastisk person liksom. Sebastian, han är 12 år, musikintresserad. Sitta där och hålla på och klappa till barnvisor. Och liksom, han frågar sig, är det inte någonting vi kan göra istället då? Så nästa gång när vi kommer ner så har han satt ihop ett program till Smoke on the Water. Han mötte ju Sebastian perfekt liksom.
Alltså inte nog att den här metoden har hjälpt mig fysiskt med spasmerna och allting efter stroken, men det hjälpte mig psykiskt också. Jag fick ju tillbaks hoppet om att liksom, jag klarar av det. Det bästa med Ronnies metod var att något så litet och så enkelt kan göra så mycket förändring i ens liv. Det är ju liksom det bästa jag har gjort om jag får säga det själv.
A lot of people here, they know him as a drummer. Then I tell them what he's doing and they say, I don't believe it. And I'm saying, yes, it's true. They'll find out.
Fysisk aktivitet, sinnesstimulering och social interaktion. Det har experimentellt i djur visats ha väldigt starka effekter så att de återhämtar sig mycket fortare efter en skada. Det gäller att hitta paradigm som kan verka som berikad miljö eller sinnesstimulering hos människor. Vi letar ju särskilt förstås efter paradigm som kombinerar de här delarna, fysisk aktivitet, sinnesstimulering och social interaktion. Och i det sammanhanget så har Ronnie Gardiners metod, RGRM, som han själv strax ska beskriva, just de egenskaperna att alla de här 3 komponenterna finns i den. Varsågod Ronnie.
Communication without words. Rhythm is life and life is rhythm.
I think he has a point when he talks about life is rhythm, rhythm is life. And a lot of processes in our body is clearly controlled by rhythmic behavior. We know by far too little about what rhythm means, but for sure we have great effects on autonomous reactions in the body after exposure to different types of rhythm. So I am a strong believer in the medical biological effects of rhythm.
And my left hand says, ba, ting, ba, boom, chick. I don't know who's written this, but to me, I try to live in this vein. The moment is a gift. That is why this moment is called the present. We don't know what's going to happen in 5 minutes when you leave this room. But the only thing you can know is be here right now. This very moment, you are here. Every day you get up in the morning, it's a new gift. It's a new day. Make something positive happen.
Han är ju en otroligt varm och snäll människa. Nästan för snäll. Jag brukar säga när jag är lite grinig att han är naiv. Och det är inte i negativ mening, men han är otroligt godtroende.
I trusted everybody. All of a sudden, your mind, it's all about money. When you have money, you got lots of friends. And when the money's gone, they don't hang around any longer.
There have been people who have come into his life. I'll hesitate to say that they've taken advantage of him because his interpersonal relationship with them is his relationship. But as an outsider looking in, he has been very generous. I think that's just part of his makeup. I think it's just part of his way.
Han har ju varit utsatt för ekonomiska krav som är... hade man skulle berätta den här storyn och det här för någon utomstående så hade de sagt att du sitter och ljuger. Det är inte möjligt att det kan vara på det viset. Men tyvärr så är det ju det.
And I was shocked. I was just had to face the reality. I've lost everything. It's my life savings. It was terrible.
Det han har tjänat på spelningar och det han har fått i betalning för undervisning av sin metod, det har ju gått att betala advokatkostnader både här i Sverige såväl som nu i Amerika.
So from nothing to a millionaire, now I'm back, I'm broke again. Yeah. So it's been the roller coaster. What happened was after this divorce proceeding started, paying lawyers and so forth, and then my apartment, I had a large apartment, nearly 100 square meters, and I couldn't afford it. And I was playing in the place, and a friend of mine came by, Egil, where I'm living now, and he said, well, you know, my wife passed away. I have room, you can stay at my place.
Han har ju sitt eget lilla rum på den vägen, är det?
He's really saved me. I don't know what I would have done without Egil.
Vi är överens om det mesta. Vi delar på kostnader på mat, och jag står ju kanske lite grann för mathållet då, som sådan. Men när det gäller då det praktiska jobbet så påstår han att det är mentalt avslappnande för honom att köra på gräsmattan. Och han tycker också om att stryka. Och jag måste säga till Ronnie så här att jag aldrig haft så många rena nystrukna skjortor hängande på rad i mitt garderobskåp som jag har efter Ronnie flyttade in.
So the thing about my life, these two special women in my life, my mother and Git, and they both died in my arms. It's pretty unusual. I mean, that's not many people have experienced that. Either you laugh or you cry. I do both because I have the extremes of happiness and sadness. Right now, this is the real time. It just seems this is like this. It's just funny I'm talking about. There's a storm is here right now. It's been thundering and lightning and thing. And this is the part of my life. It's great that you filmed this today because it's exactly where I am right now. It is storm, but I know the sunshine's going to shine again.
You know, he is who he is, and that's what makes him who he is.
When you tell people, I have a training from an 81-year-old man, they say, 81, how is it possible? But he's still very active.
1, 2, 3, 4, boom,
He's the living proof of the method.
I think that I've left something that's going to go a long, long, long time after I'm gone. That's my legacy. It was a high price. But I had to try to find something to balance it somehow. I was forced either to take my life or to defeat evil with something good. I think I've defeated evil. I think so. Git told me, follow your heart. And I've been following my heart ever since. Miss you.